Marriage is a central part of human life and culture. It's something that so many of us deeply desire. So, what does Jesus the Messiah say marriage should look like? Some people think that marriage is simply a contract with specified rights and obligations, a list of do's and don'ts. But God says that marriage is so much more than that. God says that marriage should be these three things: lifelong, committed to one person, and for loving in a selfless way. That is, putting the other person's needs before your own. Does that sound like terrible news or wonderful news? We've all seen bad marriages with no trust and no peace. And if you focus on that, teaching that marriage should be lifelong and committed to one person sounds like a prison sentence. And selfless love seems naive and idealistic. You might say that marriage needs rules that protect your freedoms and rights. You might want a marriage that can simply be ended if one of you wants to end it. Men might want that husbands could take more wives if their desires were not satisfied. And ultimately, you might reduce marriage to just being a contract where you can and should assert your rights as long as you fulfill your obligations. A human marriage that was lifelong, committed to one person, and full of selfless love would be good if it was possible and if it was the right, perfect person. The wonderful news is that God's people already know unending, committed, and selfless love like this from Jesus. In fact, in the scriptures, Jesus is called the groom, the bridegroom, and the followers of Jesus are together called the bride. It says that through his death, Jesus has washed his bride from all sin and presents her to himself without any stain or mark, holy and blameless. After Jesus returns to judge the earth, he will take his people, his bride, to be with him forever in heaven. And Scripture calls heaven a wedding feast, celebrating Jesus and his bride. That's what we're promised. To be clear, this is not anything sexual, but in this heavenly marriage, we will know the deepest, truest form of love. So what's all this got to do with marriage now? Here's the key point. The scriptures say that living in paradise with Jesus is the true marriage, and therefore God designed all earthly marriages to show and celebrate what that will be like. It's a lot like when they release a big blockbuster movie like the latest James Bond. They make a 2-minute trailer and they release it months before, and it's designed to show how good the real thing is, to motivate you to go and see it when it comes out. God designed marriage to be like a film trailer for being with Jesus in paradise. It's designed to show you how good the real thing is in order to motivate you to go. And so because Jesus will be with his people, his bride, forever and faithfully committed to them, and because he selflessly and out of love died instead of them in order to wash them of their sin, God designed marriage on earth to be like that, lifelong, committed to one person, selflessly loving. Marriage is just like Jesus and his people. Following Jesus' example leads to strong and beautiful marriages in our lives today. It is wonderful. Imagine that, a marriage that is lifelong, where there's no fear of your husband or wife leaving because you've become seriously ill, or you haven't been able to find work for a long time, or because they no longer find you attractive, or they've found someone more attractive, or simply because they've become sick of you. A marriage that's rock solid. Imagine a marriage only for one other person, where there's no fear of the husband taking another wife, where both the man and the woman know that they aren't lusting after other people when they visit the beach, where the man works to focus his sexual desire only on his wife, and where he doesn't numb his brain with pornography, where there's absolute trust that neither person will cheat. Imagine a marriage that is selflessly loving, where the husband puts his wife's needs before his own, and his wife puts her husband's needs before her own also. Where the husband has never hit his wife, and his wife knows he never will. Where a husband never demands sex, and where a wife doesn't undermine him or disrespect him or nag him. That's actually a beautiful picture of a marriage. And with God's help, these are our aims for marriage. It honours someone to want to be like them, doesn't it? And in the same way, God invites us to honour him by displaying, through how we act in our marriages, the glorious future he has so generously provided for us in Jesus the Messiah. And whether you marry or remain single, if you trust in Jesus, the true heavenly marriage awaits you too.